Do you feel like aphantasia is a hindrance or a superpower? And let me explain my question a little bit to you, because when you first told me about aphantasia, and you remember that conversation, and I was blown away that you can't see things because, like I've said, you're a super creative. You're very good with the written word. You're very good with visualizations. But the more time I've had to think about it, I actually think that it's kind of a superpower. I felt bad for you the first time you told me, and now I've kind of flipped that script. I think you're kind of lucky because I'm on the other end of the spectrum where I picture everything for you, and so a lot of times when I'm being creative, I see something and I try to make it look like what I saw, and in doing that, I think sometimes I miss how much better it could be. And I've kind of heard a little bit of your creative process where you just start and you kind of fill in blanks as you go along. And I'm not so sure that having a picture to work off of is always the better thing, especially when you talk about communication. I would say one of my weaknesses is sometimes formulating what I'm going to say and not knowing how I'm going to feel about it in the moment when I have to say it. And maybe it's not the right thing to say, or maybe I feel different about it after hearing someone's perspective. And so then I'm stuttering and backtracking and or trying to defend what I said because I feel like an idiot, right? And so I think maybe, having aphantasia isn't a bad thing at all. In fact, I would say it's more a blessing. Anyway, my
Yeah.
question was, how do you feel about it?
So I think in some respects it is a superpower because I don't think I would truly be me without it. I don't know if I could be the designer I am or the poet I am without it because um, it's a blank slate, right? I've talked to some people where they can only picture things that they've seen before. Where me, I have a blank canvas. So if I don't have any preconceived ideas about what something should look like or something should be,
Exactly.
right? I have now when I design, I'm a graphic designer by trade. So when I design, if I'm designing a logo or I'm designing an ad, I will have general, vague ideas, but it doesn't happen until I get it up on the screen and try stuff. So a lot of times I'll have an idea, and then when I put it up on the screen, I'm like, oh, that was a bad idea. Now that I see it, I can see that's not going to work. And so
Hmm.
I rework it and I tweak things, I change colors because I can't do any of that in my mind. So I have to do it the way I do it. But the way I do it works. I'm good at it and I've gotten really fast at it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Would you say that you're more open to possibilities? Because I have found that to be true with you. You seem more open to accepting things that maybe you hadn't considered before, than maybe somebody like myself that feels like oftentimes I feel like I have things already figured out, and I can't be trifled with this idea that you're proposing until you make me stop and think about it. I think what you're describing is anything's possible until I see it, until I hear it, until I read it. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I think in general, I'm pretty open minded and always have been about certain things. But another thing that happens is I'll just draw blanks, or my mind will refuse to think. like like I have a very simple. It's just very simple. It doesn't like to be bothered with with a lot of different things. So a lot of times it'll just like turn itself off. Like I don't even want to think about that. So a lot of times it is a hindrance because somebody else will have a clear, like you said, oh, I understand. I know what we're going to do. Uh, and my brain's just sitting there, not like nothing. Just like, I don't know. I don't. So sometimes I think it might be nice to have a little more direction and thought about things. Sometimes it's just like, nothing sparking. And the other thing is I just want to know what it's like, right? Like, I would love to experience it, even if it's for just one day, or like, okay, Shane, you can now visualize, and then at the end of the day, you can decide if you want to keep it or not. Like, I just want to know what it's like, because it's so,
take it on a test drive.
yeah, because it's so outside my realm of understanding. I've talked to enough people now that I just like, okay, that's what it is. But inside I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even wrap my head around it. It's just, it boggles my mind that such a thing is possible. So I would love to experience it if I could.